Imagine kneeling in a quiet riverbank, scooping up a handful of thick brown mud. To most people, it's just dirt. Wet, heavy, messy. But what if I told you that mud is often the curtain hiding gemstones, treasures that could change your life in an instant? That sticky layer on your hands, the one you're tempted to wash away, could be the final disguise of stones formed deep within the earth and carried to this very spot by centuries of wind, rain, and river flow. You see, nature never leaves gems scattered openly on the surface. They are disguised, hidden, and often buried under mud or compact soil. And here's the suspenseful truth. The very places you'd never bother checking, muddy bends in rivers, compacted clay layers, or sticky gullies after rainfall, are where heavy gemstones rest, waiting to be uncovered by someone observant enough to look deeper. Let's start with the most important secret: veins. If mud is the disguise, veins are the origin. These veins are the channels where gemstones are born, trapped in cracks of rock, cooling over centuries into crystal structures. When rain falls and hillsides crumble, fragments of those veins are carried downhill. But before they sparkle in streams or settle in bends, they pass through mud and soil. That's why gemstone veins are the first clue in your search. Picture walking along a rugged hillside after rain. A fresh landslide exposes a streak of pale rock running diagonally across the slope. It looks different from the surrounding stone, maybe lighter in color, maybe smoother. That streak is a vein, and if you pause to break it open, you might uncover dull, rough crystals clinging to its surface. They won't shine at first. They may look like ordinary lumps, but cleaned, washed, and tested, they reveal themselves as gems in their raw state. Now here's where the mud comes in again. Once veins break apart, weathering covers those rough crystals in layers of soil. Over time, they roll downhill, hidden under mud at the base of slopes or caught in gullies. To the casual eye, they vanish, but to the trained eye, they leave signs. Unusual colors in the soil, heavier lumps mixed into ordinary clay, or glimmers after rain. This is why true gemstone hunters don't just look for shine. They dig into mud, they wash it, they examine what others throw away. Because mud is the earth's way of protecting its secrets. Let's take it a step further. Imagine a river winding down from the hills where those veins are exposed. The water carries fragments of stone, tumbling them downstream. The lighter pebbles float along easily, but the heavier crystals, including gemstones, behave differently. They sink. They don't travel far. And when the river bends, slows, or swirls behind a boulder, those gemstones fall into the mud at the bottom. That's why the inside curve of a river bend is such a powerful trap. On the surface, it looks like just another muddy corner. But scoop deep into that sticky gravel, and you may find heavy crystals resting where the current abandoned them. And here's another layer of suspense. Many beginners stop at the first muddy scoop. They see nothing but sand and walk away. But experienced hunters know that sapphires, garnets, topaz, and other heavy stones often rest beneath the first few inches. You must dig into the compacted clay layer, the layer that resists your shovel, the layer that holds stones which sank and stayed. That stubborn mud is where treasures lie. Now let's connect veins to rivers. Veins give birth. Rivers transport. Mud conceals. And the patient eye reveals. This is the cycle of gemstone discovery, and it begins when you understand that mud is not an obstacle. It's a signpost. But rivers aren't the only traps. Dry gullies hold some of the greatest secrets. Think about it. Hundreds of years ago, a river may have run where there's now only a shallow depression. The water disappeared, but the stones it carried remain, buried under soil and hardened mud. If you see a gully filled with rounded rocks on a hillside, you may be standing on a forgotten riverbed, one still holding untouched gemstones. And then there's erosion. Every rainfall wears hills down. Heavy stones, including gemstones, roll to the base and bury themselves in mud at the foot of slopes. The topsoil washes away, but the heavier stones resist movement, embedding deeper each season. To most people, the foot of a slope looks like nothing more than sticky clay and tangled roots. To a hunter, it is nature's basket, filled quietly year after year with treasures gravity cannot carry further. Let me paint this vividly. A prospector once stopped at a muddy patch near the bottom of a hill. To anyone else, it looked like a place to avoid, thick, sticky, full of water. But he noticed heavy pebbles mixed into the mud. After scooping and washing them in a pan, he discovered they were crystals weathered from veins uphill. That's how close you can come to treasures without even knowing, until mud gives them away. And here's something most people never consider: behind boulders. Walk along a stream and look where large rocks interrupt the flow. On the downstream side, mud and gravel pile up. It looks ordinary, but that mud is where the current drops its heaviest loads. You won't find light, flashy pebbles there. You'll find the stubborn ones, the ones that resist water's push, the ones that might just be gemstones. So the question becomes, how do you search? First, train your eyes for veins. Look for streaks of rock different in color or texture, exposed on hillsides or road cuts. Break small samples, wash them, and study what lies inside. Second, when you move to rivers, target bends, boulders, and inside curves. Don't stop at the first scoop. Dig deeper, into the compact clay, into the layers where lighter stones cannot hide. Third, never ignore mud. After rainfall, muddy soil reveals what dry earth hides. Pick up the heavier pebbles mixed in, wash them, test them. What looks worthless at first may prove to be the gem of a lifetime. And fourth, think beyond rivers. Check gullies, slopes, and base areas where erosion and gravity collect heavy stones. This is what separates casual searchers from true hunters. Not luck, not sparkle, but patience. The willingness to see mud not as dirt, but as nature's disguise. So, what have we uncovered? Mud isn't just mud. It's a silent vault where gemstones rest, waiting for the patient eye. Veins cut through rock like secret highways, gullies hide forgotten trails, and river bends quietly collect treasures that others step over without a second thought. Most people pass by, blind to what the earth is offering, but you're different now. You've seen the clues and you know where to look. The question is, will you act the next time you find yourself in front of mud that could be hiding a fortune? Don't let opportunity slip away. Subscribe now to Pro Gems, where every video is an open auction of nature's hidden secrets, waiting for those bold enough to claim them.